My name is Alsu Gilmedinova, and today we are going to talk about how to get a double degree in engineering and to increase your income. I will soon start my presentation. I just wanted to introduce my colleague, Sled Aisha. She will help me to take care of your questions in the chat room. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat, okay? And Aisha will do her best to answer the question. And if we cannot answer the question right now, we will for sure reply to you later on if you submit your email address or any other contact information. To start off, I wanted to ask you a question. Could you please write down in the chat how did you hear about us and what is your interest? So what kind of programs are you interested in? Whether they are bachelor programs, master programs, or PhD programs, what would you like to study and why? A double degree in engineering is something that you would like to pursue, something that you would like to continue, okay? I will go ahead and share my screen and start the presentation. So I think you can see my screen now. Let's go ahead and open up the presentation. With the show of hands or in the chat, could you please write down if you can see my screen so that we can ensure that you all can receive and hear me fine and see the presentation. Let me see the chat room. Yes, we may. Okay, great. And I'm going to go ahead and make my colleague Aisha the host of the conference today so that when there are other participants, she would allow them to join the session. Okay, Aisha Alimova, could you please allow all the other willing participants to join the conference as I'm going through my presentation today, okay?
Okay.
So, increase your income twice, get a double degree, okay? So, I wanted to start off by my own experience. Myself, I was born in Kazan in Russia, and I finished a local Kazan State University, and I was a very shy student. And study abroad, these were kinds of the questions I had, and I really thought, quote, I wasn't a master degree material. I was very lucky and I got a local grant from our region, from the Republic of Tatarstan. And I went for 1 semester as an exchange student to the United States. And my professor said, you should apply for a master program. And I said, really? I'm not that smart. But she truly encouraged me to apply and supported me in this initiative. And I did, right? And I applied and I was very lucky to win the grant from the United States University to study there and work there for 2 years during my master's program. And so what I did was I did a lot of teaching. So I worked half-time. I was mentored by my professor, Lisa Eckert, who truly showed me how to teach, how to work with people, how to prepare for classes. In fact, for the first year, I really was silent. I was the only international student in the program, and I was very afraid to even ask questions. But she really supported me through the process. I did a lot of networking because there were students from all over the world, and I was able to make friends and meet with people with the different experiences. And of course, I had a lot of fun. I went on different activities, clubs, events, and truly practiced English in academic, in informal, and in other fun contexts. In the meantime, in the summer of the master program, I decided to go to Spain because Spanish was my minor. It was the second foreign language that I learned. And I got a certificate as a teacher of Spanish as a foreign language. And what that experience gave me, if in the United States I really practiced English, in Spain I had a lot of practice with native speakers of Spanish. And they were people from Spain, they were people from different Latin American countries, from Mexico, from Colombia, from Ecuador, and I really enhanced my Spanish language skills. And so all in all, I finished my master program with the honors. And a year after I finished the program, I was offered the job, the English first, or education first, English Center Director. And you could imagine that that was the highlight. I could not even imagine that that was possible. But that was only possible because I had this very extensive, very deep and meaningful, profound experience of studying in another country. Later on, because I was really very curious, I wanted to study more and learn more. So therefore, I continued my education in the PhD program. And so I won another grant from Purdue University, and I studied for my PhD there for 4 years. And guess what? Everything I learned during my master's studies, I really used. For example, the reason that I spoke Spanish very well allowed me to participate in specific research projects where we studied Mexican American students in schools. And because I knew not only English, but also Spanish, the professor invited me and other American students to help her in the project, right? So the language skill was very much an advantage. More so, I really studied a lot with very different professors from different programs, and I was able to publish 5 articles. And if you know the database Scopus, and all of these articles are published in journals of the first quartile in the Scopus database. And throughout these years, I got lots of grants and awards. I continued to be mentored by my professors and annually went to different conferences. Along the way, if I had some money, I did a lot of traveling. And most importantly, study abroad really helped me to develop my personal skills, right? As I mentioned before, I was a very shy student, but during the study abroad process, especially in the PhD program, I decided to develop my leadership skills as well. And so I became an active member of graduate student government. I was the head of grant committee where we oversaw how to give different grants. I was the head of the career services committee. We invited different companies on campus and helped students to find a job, etc. And all in all, this experience really prepared me to my current job, which I think is a dream job or dream come true, because here I am using all the skills and all the knowledge I've learned, most importantly, during my years of studies in another country. And these are language skills, leadership, communication, my salary is good, traveling, and personal growth. And right now, I'm the Russian director of the German-Russian Institute of Advanced Technologies. And our institute does exactly what I promote. We prepare students who study in one country and who study in another country, and who truly get this full-blown, diverse experience of living and studying in another country. Also, there are many other advantages of studying abroad, right? Forbes and other websites state that the 5 top required skills this year are critical thinking, agility, adaptability, working with people, critical thinking skills. And all of these skills are exactly developed during study abroad period. And many governments invest lots of money to promote that. European Union for many years supports study abroad. In general, there is research that says that people who study abroad earn at least 20% more, but on average twice as much as those who don't study in another country. And people who study abroad or get a double degree take on more management, more leadership positions. Our graduates, the graduates of the German-Russian Institute of Advanced Technologies, also confirm the benefits of study abroad. So for example, Daniil Dmitriev and Nikolai Berezov, who work for a local automation company, Volga Automation, state that right after graduation, I came here to work, and at work, besides basic knowledge, it really helps to have communication skills, reading technical and scientific text in English, and we all learned that in GRIA, right? So being immersed in teaching and learning in another language truly helps. And since English is the language of the world nowadays, we can't do without it. But for many students, something gets in the way. Some people are afraid, just like I was, or they don't know what to do, or they think that it's really, really expensive when it's not really the case. So let's move on to talking about how to find the right program. There are two suggestions. The first one is to find something that's nearby, find something that's easily available. And another option is to really go on your own search and to explore the different options that might be not so clear, or you would experience difficulties on the way, but it's still possible. So starting from the first way, all of you are studying or have finished universities. And my first recommendation would be to go to the websites of international affairs or departments of international programs at your universities, and all of them should have information about different grant programs, exchange programs, and double degree programs. So for example, our international affairs department also offers a variety of programs. Our students go to Finland or China for summer or winter programs. They go to Italy or Germany for exchange programs. So all of this information is available there. Our institute, unlike many others, has a special program, and the program which I direct is called German-Russian Institute of Advanced Technologies. So what we have is 9 master's degree programs where in 2 years students receive 2 full diplomas, and at the end we'll help them to get job offers in Russia or in Germany. So we have a couple of international students, for example, who during even their 3rd semester in Germany are able to go to different career fairs and find a job in Germany to get that type of experience. Of course, finishing the master program is extremely important. So we encourage them to first focus on studies and finish the program. But the very fact that with high quality of education that they receive, they can easily find a job, that's already a huge advantage. And our students get this cultural experience and networking during the studies. So what does it take to study in our programs? Our education is in the English language. So both in Russia and in Germany, we decided to choose English as the medium of instruction because that's the global language I mentioned. For the foundation of our curriculum, we take the German courses because German engineering standards are one of the top in the world. So it's clear that integrating the best engineering educational standards from Germany and Russia would offer the best options, right? So how does the timeline of studies look like? So the first 2 semesters, all students study in Kazan. They take their main courses, they learn additionally the German language, the basics, no requirements. We have no requirements for learning German before coming to us. Then in the first semester, students extensively prepare for IELTS. So upon admission, unlike many other international universities, we do not require any certificates. So just the oral spoken fluency in English is enough. Then we also invite a lot of guest speakers and people from the industry. We have heads of HR agencies. We have successful engineers and businessmen and those who develop startups and psychologists, just to broaden the horizon of our students. And we have the concept of flying faculty. For each of the programs, we invite 1 German professor to come to Kazan. So we fully pay for all the expenses of bringing the German professor for 2 weeks, where the professor from the morning till evening offers their classes. And this flying faculty program really helps students to better understand the expectation of the German professor, the requirements, the style of teaching, and really they bring the students up to the board with the requirements, expectations. In the second semester, all our students take and pass IELTS or TOEFL exam. This is necessary because all German universities require that students submit the results of this exam before going to Germany. The third semester, for the entire semester, all students go to Germany. And during their studies, they can also continue learning German. And we, especially just for our students, organize something very special. We invest the money and invite all the students from 3 universities where our students are studying, and organize a student conference where students present the results of their research projects. And that way students can practice their public speaking skills, their presentation skills. They prepare a poster or a presentation, and all of the faculty, and including the rectors of the 3 universities, they participate and really support the students. And for the fourth semester, students either come back to Kazan or stay in Germany, write up their thesis, and defend their program. And upon the end, they receive 2 diplomas. One diploma in the Russian language from our university, and the second diploma, a diploma from the German university, just like if you were to go to study in Germany for 2 years. We offer several grants to international students. To the Russian students, we have a special grant called Altarish, but since most of you are probably interested in international grants, I'll talk a little bit about those. So the first one is Россотрудничество grant. The deadline has passed, but annually it is available. These grants allow students to get a scholarship to study without any tuitions, get a hostel, a dormitory, and a small stipend. In GRIAT, we offer a different scholarship. Besides that, it is called Siemens. We partner with this huge corporation, German corporation, and they offer annually 2 to 6 scholarships, but mostly to the students of the Research in Systems and Computer Engineering program, basically to those who study IT. So what happens is that students, first of all, get admitted into the program, and then in September, in the very first month of studies, the representative of Siemens comes to Kazan, and together with the program coordinator, they select the best students, interview them, and then offer the scholarship. And the scholarship in rubles is 650,000 rubles a year, so a little bit less than maybe 8,000–9,000 euros for 2 years. You could imagine that's a good amount of money. So while students are in Kazan, they receive about 120 euros a month additionally to their Russian stipend if they receive one, and Siemens fully covers all the expenses for these students in Germany. Besides that, we offer Erasmus grants, but there is a special thing about that grant. Students only find out about the availability of these grants and the number of these grants at the end of the first year of study. So students first enroll, start studying in GRIAT, successfully finish the first year of studies, and sometime later in May, we receive information from the German universities about how many Erasmus grants they offer, if any, and then to the best students, we offer this grant. An Erasmus grant is about 850 euros a month, which is also enough to cover all the expenses of living and studying in Germany. Besides that, we have a DAD center, or we provide assistance to students who are interested to go to Germany on a variety of other programs. So we offer seminars and talk about different grants for students, bachelor students, master and PhD students, and for those who want to do research. One of the interesting programs is a summer school or summer language courses. So those of you who want to learn the German language, we consult and explain how to get a German language course in Germany. They're usually from 350 euros to maybe 700-800 euros. And if you want, you can go for a couple of weeks or a month or two in the summer to learn the language. We also offer educational trips to Germany. Like on the picture you see, the students of our Zielindadols branch in 2015 went to Germany on such a trip. So basically, the trip allows students to go to different German universities and just to get to know how the education system there works. DAD provides 50 euros a day per person, and it usually is enough because universities help with the hostel and food is not so expensive. So we as GRIAT administration also help our students to get such trips. We also offer some other thematic projects, like right now we were discussing with the colleagues from the Northern Rhine University in Mönchengladbach. We wanted to send students who want to learn about doing business in Germany and Russia. So if you are interested in joining these thematic project, please write down in the chat, and we would be happy to provide you more information about it, because this is one of the thematic exchange projects that we want to do, where 2 weeks students spend in Mönchengladbach in Germany, and all the expenses there are covered. And then all the German students come to Kazan also for a week or two, and we provide for their hostel and food, and they learn about doing business in Russia. And we also offer summer schools. Unfortunately, this year, due to the coronavirus, we had to cancel our summer school. But this is a great project where for 2 weeks, students are immersed in learning about a specific topic, where we invite Russian faculty, German professors. In the beginning of the day, students have classes. In the second half, they learn either Russian or German language. And in the rest of the day, we offer them various tours to local companies in Kazan, and as well their cultural parts as well. We take them on bike tours, picnics, etc. GRIAT also offers grants for young researchers and faculty members, like some of our colleagues here on the picture go on 3 to 6 month periods of research stay in our partner universities. There are also grants that DAD offers for double PhD students. Like on the picture you can see our PhD, our graduate, Ivan Podkurkov, who is now finishing his double PhD program. So he's doing a PhD here in Kazan and also in our partner university in Germany, in Tübingen now. And on the picture, you can see when he was in Germany doing part of his PhD dissertation work. But overall, you can learn more about DAD grants from the GRIAT German Center head, Ms. Claudia Ulbrich, and her email is offered here on the screen. The second, more difficult option is to go on your own search, and it will be like doing a detective, being a detective and doing a really extensive and very complicated search, but still possible, right? You can start out simply by Googling in English some keywords, and I wrote down some of them. A few clarifications maybe are necessary. So merit-based scholarships are those that are given to students with different, let's call them awards, or with different achievements. So if you won different competitions, Olympiads, or you have other successes, based on those merits, you would be given a scholarship. Need-based scholarship is usually given to those who have financial difficulties. Financial aid means that it's not a full grant, but it reduces, if you provide additional documentation, it reduces your tuition fee, it reduces the cost of studies. And fellowships, assistantships imply that you not only study, but you also work for this university as a researcher or as a teaching assistant, or do some other kind of work. On this slide, I just offered a few international grant options that are available. the DAD grants I mentioned, the European Union Erasmus grants. There are grants from different governments like Belgium, grants from US Department of State, grants from different countries like Turkey, Australia, or for example, from the ministries of foreign affairs. But keep in mind, if you want to go to Spain, for example, you would need to learn the Spanish language and obviously do the search in the Spanish language, which is what I did. So although English is the lingua franca, but in certain countries, more scholarship options are available in that other language. And therefore, we also in GRIAD teach our students the German language, because even though students study in English, and on campus, everybody speaks English, but on the street, in the store, and when our students travel, they definitely need the German language. And in general, learning the language of the country where you live helps you to better understand the local people and to really speak to the hearts of those people for whom this is a native language. And if you want to search for the programs, you can also do that on the website of international, of the foreign universities. And here is the algorithm. First of all, go to different ranking websites, and there are 3 of them, QS or the Times Higher Education or the Shanghai ranking. Choose the best programs based on the ranking, or I would recommend you to choose a program from the first 20, from the middle, and from the last batch, and apply to a different set of programs. That way, if you are really good and lucky, you can get into the best programs. But if not, you can still get into the programs where the requirements are not so high. Then you would need to study the website of the university, search by keywords like the ones I mentioned to you, and then write emails. Sometimes not all the information is available or it's not updated. So emailing the international office, graduate office, or directly the faculty members if you like their research or are interested in the courses they teach, and they can provide you with more information. And lastly, you would need to submit an application, but keep in mind that it costs money. Usually international universities charge you just for the application. So on average, it would cost from 30 euros to 100 euros for one application. Also, international universities require that you translate and notarize your diplomas. That costs money. Some American and other international universities require, besides English language tests, that you take GRE, GMAT, or other professional tests, and those also cost money. For example, when I applied to some American universities, they requested that I use the services of a special agency that verified my educational qualification. So I needed to pay them that they check my documents. So there are additional costs related to applying directly to international universities. So keep that in mind. So when and how to apply, right? Just like I mentioned before, for GRIAD programs, the process is much, much simpler than the one that I just described. For example, in the United States, when I applied for the PhD program, I applied in November, the year before I wanted to study. So imagine if I wanted to start the program in August or September 2020, I needed to apply with all my documents that I just stated, documents, educational documents, translated, notarized, TOEFL exam, GRE exam, send originals of my documents by mail and pay for that as well by November, right? Some of the European universities have later deadlines. Sometimes they can be in May or March. In some exceptions, maybe June. But usually the admission process finishes way, way in advance. In our case, we do not require such extensive lists and such pricey, we don't require that students pay so much money for these paperwork. All you need to apply to our programs is to have a bachelor degree in engineering. You need to speak fluent English and be interviewed by a Russian and a German professor. And let me go into detail about how that works. But before that, I wanted to review the list of programs that we have. So with Technical University of Ilmenau, we offer a program in communications and signal processing, one of the top in Europe, by the way. Research in computer and systems engineering and automotive engineering. With the Otto von Guericke University in Magdeburg, we have electrical engineering, chemical and energy engineering, and systems engineering and engineering cybernetics. Basically, that's an automation robotics program. And with Technical University of Kaiserslautern, we have computing systems, quantum technologies, and intelligent data processing. So now for the timeline. We started the application process way in advance, but for your convenience, we divided this process into 3 major steps. So the first step, you need to submit your short application online and then be interviewed first by the Russian professor and then by the German professor. If all goes well, you receive a conditional admission, and you should do that no later than the end of July, right, in the very beginning of August. After that, once you receive this conditional admission, it means that you, in terms of your knowledge background and in terms of your motivation, you completely fulfill the requirements. Then the only thing you need to do is to do the formal things. You will need to upload your official documents, like the scans of diploma, because sometimes students only receive their bachelor diploma later in June or July. So once you receive those documents, you can submit those. There might be a formal online test, and you would need to pay and sign the agreement. And once you do that, about on the 21st, 22nd of August, there will be a decree or prikaz that you are enrolled into the university. We encourage the students that they arrive a few days before the start of the semester, and on the 1st of September, then the education begins. So conditional admission, official admission, and then arrival. Let's look into the process a little bit further in more detail. So in order to submit an application, you need to go to the website that I just show you on the screen. I think I actually can make comments, right? So this is the website, right? And we have prepared for you easy steps to apply. They're in Russian and English language. You would need to first register, create your personal user account, then sign in, and in that page to submit the documents. And the documents are super easy. These are your transcript of records with all the grades for all semesters of study. So if, for example, right now you are finishing your last semester of the bachelor program, it means that the 7th semester of your studies in the bachelor program should be scanned and uploaded into the system. You should also submit a motivation letter and a CV or resume. For your convenience, we uploaded samples of all these documents, so you can upload them and take a look, and then modeling them, write up your own motivation letter and resume. Also, if students right now, due to quarantine, cannot reach their dean's office, they can basically do the screenshots of their personal user account, Lichный кабинет, for example, or from their zachotka. If they have their own record with the courses and grades they received for them, the scan of that will be fine. So that's the first step. And then the next step would be to prepare for an interview with the Russian and the German professor. And in order to prepare for the interview, we encourage all applicants, all candidates, to go to our website as well. And there is a tab called Admission Requirements. And in this tab, you can see a list of all the programs and the requirements for each of them. And here, for example, you can see that there are a list of courses, right? So in order to prepare for the interview, you should check the program that you want to apply and a list of courses. So for example, theoretical foundations of electrical engineering, right? So for the interview, it's better that you prepare and review your knowledge on these subjects. So when the faculty, the German and Russian professors interview you, you can answer these questions. Sometimes some of these courses were the ones you studied several years ago. So remembering them, reviewing them now before the interview can really help you, okay? Next is rejection. Sometimes it happens that for one of our programs you can be rejected, and it's absolutely normal that that happens. So don't be upset. Try to apply to another program, and usually it's no big deal, and some students get rejected 2 or 3 times from the programs, but then be admitted to another one. I myself, when I applied to different master programs, I got rejected a number of times. I applied to Stanford University, to University of Pennsylvania. I applied to University of California, Santa Barbara, and I got accepted. So you never know. Some of the really top universities and programs might accept or might reject you, but apply. This is my recommendation. So if you successfully pass the interview with the German and Russian professor, then you will receive a conditional admission letter. I showed you an example. So in this conditional admission letter, you will receive further instructions on what to do and how to do. After that, for the second and third steps, you would need to check your personal user account and email, where we will send you more instructions about what to do. I missed a slide on the tuition fees or the study fees, and the reason is that information about the payments will be available sometime on the 10th of June. But on average, based on our last year experience, the cost of a program is about 170,000 rubles. So let me do the math. So it would be about 2,500 euros for 1 year of studies. If you go to a so-called contract place, if you go to study and pay for the tuition, those who qualify for a budget place or so-called бюджетное место, then you would be able to receive that if you pass the interview with the professor and pass the test. In that case, you would need to pay only 24,000 rubles a year. And this is a requirement for all. I mentioned before that we provide additional services like IELTS preparation, German language, and we also invite the German professor to come to Kazan and teach, which is also very expensive. So therefore, there are these additional fees that each grad student should pay. So for the budget student, 24,000 rubles a year. And for the contract student, you would pay about 170,000 or 2,500 euro a year. So what about visa, dormitory, and cultural shock? For international students who need a visa, it takes about 1 month to prepare it and send the candidate an invitation. And typically about 2 weeks it takes the student to receive a Russian visa. In terms of culture shock, our students do have a culture shock, but it really is what pushes our students out of comfort zone and really helps them grow. Research says that only possible way to grow and develop is when you go out of your comfort zone. And study abroad experience or double degree program is a unique and great opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and really grow. So I mentioned before, you learn creativity, communication skills, you constantly solve problems on the street, in the university, in communication with the students or with the faculty members. You become more agile, which means that you adapt, that you are more flexible, that you are fast in making decisions, because this is the environment in which you are in and you are forced to do so. And all of these skills really help you to learn with people, grow professionally, develop language skills. You start thinking better, make friends from all over the world. You become a well-rounded individual, and become a little bit more tolerant and understanding. If you live in the dormitory with a person from different countries, you definitely understand people from other countries better. And when you do business with them, or when you have clients, you really are more successful. And the most important thing in culture shock is not to be upset, but really know why you are doing what you are doing. Because if you know that through these hardships, you will get to where you want, and you will achieve your dreams faster and better, then that's worth it. In КАИ, we also offer dormitory to all international students, and it's extremely cheap. Like our students in Germany pay from 250 to 350 or 400 euros a month, whereas in Kazan it's about $10 a month. The university also have various food sports, cafes, and the meal is also very cheap. So maybe a couple of dollars at university, or $5 to $10 in the city. So the cost of living in Kazan is very, very cheap. And therefore, I would offer a double degree offer where in Kazan you save on costs is very, very lucrative. Besides that, in КАИ we have a lot of fun things, right? We have a chorus, we have dancing studios, singing club, we have beauty contests, the Miss КАИ and Mr. of КАИ, right? So even though we're an engineering university, we have some very beautiful and smart ladies and gentlemen. Our university has fantastic sports facilities. So we have a multi-purpose gym, a 50-meter swimming pool, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So the World Cup in swimming that happened a few years ago also held some events in that swimming pool, and workout areas. КАИ Sports Club is the best in Russia as of last year. So when all the sports clubs of universities compete on the Russian wide arena, last year our guys were the best. So you can imagine that we have all kinds of sports teams: basketball, swimming, soccer, rugby, badminton, boxing. So students and faculty can join these clubs and enjoy sports activities as well. Just for your convenience, I offered here on this slide information about our admission office. You can email them, text them, call them via WhatsApp, Viber, or Telegram on the number that's indicated, and they can consult you on the general admission questions. All in all, I wanted to finish up and state that the double degree offers are really the best because they are the easiest and the most convenient. And GRIAD, the German-Russian Institute of Advanced Technologies, does offer that. Our graduates on average receive the salary which is twice as much the one in the industry. They speak fluent English and basic German. They travel the world. They are really good experts in their fields. So for example, one of our automotive engineering students, when he finished the program, one of the faculty members got called and asked if he could recommend a student for a really good job. And obviously, since our graduate was doing so well, he was offered this job, and our student is now working for one of the German companies, German automotive companies that has an office in Russia, for a very good salary and a very interesting position. And you get a double degree. So don't miss your chances and apply for a double degree, double your opportunities. And most importantly, with double degree and more money, actually the real discoveries only begin. Only when I returned from my experience in the United States, I realized that, oof, the world is in front of me and everything and anything is possible. And so in my current position, I continue to apply for different grants. I seek opportunities for traveling. If it wasn't for coronavirus, I would have traveled to 3 different countries right now for different academic research and just fun purposes. So double degree is not just about the money, it's about lifelong experiences. And I truly offer you and suggest you to make use of it, and you will definitely not regret. And just thank me years down the road that you joined this webinar, and you made use of your chances. With that, I conclude. If you would like to receive the presentation, you can follow the QR code and leave your name. The form will be about previous presentation that I did, but nevertheless, if you just state in the comments that you would like to receive this presentation, I will be happy to send it to you. With that, I would like to stop my presentation. Let's see. And how do I do that? Aisha Alimovna, could you please help me out here? So, okay, I see. Thank you very much. So right now you probably only see me, and if you have questions that you would like to ask me, I'm happy to answer them. Ilgam asked the question and Aisha Alimovna already answered it. Thank you very much. Fairuza asks, добрый день. Летние школы в Германии доступны только для студентов КАИ или для студентов других вузов тоже есть возможности участия? Fairuza, I will first reply in English and then in Russian, okay? So the summer program is actually open to anybody. So in the last years, we had 8 or 10 students from Germany who came to our summer school. 4 students from China and several students from Russia. One of the students was KAI student and the other students was from Kazan Federal University, I think. So anybody can participate. I'm glad that it's great that you speak fluent English and can understand me. Are there any other questions? Diana Tliubaeva says, no, it is not necessary to pass GMAT test. GMAT is typically required for when you apply for programs, master and PhD programs in economics, business, analytics, and we do not offer such programs. We offer engineering programs, and therefore we do not require these tests. And as I mentioned before, no tests are required, only an interview and your bachelor degree diploma. Once you get enrolled and study in our programs, then we help you to prepare for IELTS and you pass IELTS, but that's it. And no, knowing French is not necessary because we are a German-Russian Institute of Advanced Technology, so if you know German, that's good, but that's not a requirement. Are there any other questions? Alexander says, thank you for the presentation. It was interesting. You're very welcome. So then if there are no questions, we will do our best to upload these presentation, this recording to our social networks. And so you would be able to review some of the information that I presented again. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. So I will write down the email, or maybe Aisha Alimovna can help me if you don't mind. Aisha Alimovna, could you?
I also wrote.
Oh, you did?
Emails, yes, I did.
Okay, great, perfect. So please check and yeah, email us. You can email at admission@griad.kai.ru, or you can call my cell phone number, which is 89370090077. All this information is available on our website. Just go to griad.kai.ru and you will see our emails, our phone numbers. We usually respond very fast. Aisha Alimovna answers questions in the evening, on the weekends. She's super friendly. and is very fast in getting back to you. Diana Tilbaeva asks, what about bioengineering? Do you have this faculty? No, Diana, we do not have bioengineering, but we have a program which is called Chemical and Energy Engineering. And this Chemical and Energy Engineering is implemented in Kazan, partly by our energy department and partly by our ecology and general chemistry department. And there, some of the faculty members do research on bioengineering. And also professors from Magdeburg University, Otto von Guericke University, some of them do bioengineering. But overall, the program in chemical and energy engineering offers you some foundational knowledge in fluid dynamics, in general chemistry, and subjects that are related to bioengineering. So you could check out our program, and you could check out our list of major courses. So if you go to our website, gria.kai.ru, you would see that there is a tab, Master Programs. And then when you click on the Master Programs, you will find the Chemical and Energy Engineering program. Maybe Aisha Alimovna can help me. If you could, Aisha Alimovna, please send in the chat the link to the Master Program, Chemical and Energy Engineering. And there you would be able to see, thank you, you would be able to see the list of main courses that students study there in Kazan and in Germany. And if those subjects are the ones that you would like to learn, then that works. And if you want something more into the food industry or something else, then maybe we would recommend you to search for a different program. Other questions? I see some familiar names. I see among the applicants, among the participants, some of the applicants that already received conditional admission. And it's very nice to see that they're active learners. This is actually a very good thing. One way I received my grants, I attended all workshops at the university. I remember when I was at Purdue University, there were guest speakers who talked about astronomy and who talked about mechanical engineering. And I am an education student, so I did my master's and PhD in language education. So I am a professional in teaching languages, teaching English and Spanish languages. And obviously I have no background in foundational physics, quantum physics, not to mention mechanical engineering. But I did go to these courses, I did go to these lectures, and I learned so much among them. And sometimes it wasn't the subject matter knowledge. Sometimes they talked about different grants that were open to a variety of disciplines. One time I went to a lecture of a professor who was from India originally, but worked as the Dean of Mechanical Engineering Institute College at Purdue University. And he shared a story before his talk. He said that he was invited to lead, to become the main researcher of one NASA project. And first of all, he thought, I'm just a professor at one of the engineering universities, and I don't have expertise, and I'm not that smart. Remember I mentioned I'm not the master degree material. He also thought I'm not that smart to become the main researcher, the lead researcher on this project. Although he was a PhD with many years of experience, with publications, with grants, etc. But his friends and colleagues told him, come on, people from Washington, Washington, D.C., from one of the best and the largest research institutes, invite you to be the main researcher of this project, which means that you have a good reputation, which means that you have a good record of projects that you completed successfully. And if they believe in you, why don't you yourself believe in you? And after that, he said that he did take on this project, and he did a fantastic job. And that experience alone, although I spent the rest of the 50 minutes not understanding anything, he talked about mechanical engineering, right? Just that one idea that I learned, that you should believe in yourself. And if somebody offers you an opportunity, you should take this opportunity, right? Because sometimes more self-confident people take and use these chances, even though they are not as good experts in the topic. They're just very charismatic, very assured, self-assured, but not as knowledgeable as we are. So my recommendation would be for you to attend these types of webinars, to go to guest lectures, to learn and broaden your horizons. And you never know where you will get this one piece of information, that one piece of knowledge that will help you to further learn something new and get closer to your dream. So that was my short story to some of you who already know about our institute, who already attended my previous webinars. I have 2 other webinars that we recorded. On the 29th of April, there was a webinar on the benefits of study abroad, something a little bit similar to what I talked about today, but in the Russian language. And last week, I talked about grants and how to apply for grants. And I used the example of the grant program of the Tatarstan Republic Algarish, just to illustrate the mechanism, the procedure for grant application. So I see that some of you follow me through these webinars, and that's great, because that way you will definitely learn new things and move to action. Because the next step, once you gather the knowledge, the next important step is action, right? Do the job. So if you listen to or go to any leadership seminars or courses, professional development courses, all of you will say action. Like the moment you become successful is only and only when you take action. If you only learn something but never apply this knowledge to your life, then it has very little value. But if after my presentation, all of you, if you haven't done so, go to КНИТУ-КАИ.ru, follow the instructions and submit your application, that is an action point. And you know what? You don't lose anything. We don't charge you money for submitting an application. You only lose maybe half an hour of your time to put together the list of documents and to submit it, but that's it. When I was a student and looking for programs, I did the same. I just submitted my application to different grants, to different programs, hoping that one of them will work. And as you see, a couple of them did work. So take an action point, submit an application, and then see what happens. Even if you submit the documents, pass the interview, you can always say, you know, I'm not interested and I will not apply. But what if you get accepted from here, from there, then it will be you who will make decision about where you want to go. So that's, I think, the best. I think I talked through the rest of the time that we had for the webinar. We scheduled 1 hour, where about 40 minutes was allocated for the webinar and the rest for questions. Once again, thank you very, very much for being with us today. We will continue this series of webinars and soon send a list of dates and titles for our webinars. So stay tuned, check the GRIAT social networks and the КАИ social networks to know more about our upcoming webinars in the Russian and in the English language. It's a Friday night. I wish you a nice and relaxing evening and a beautiful weekend ahead. And thank you. Goodbye.